Hey, Paul from Akewatu here, and today we're talking tail pads. This video is going to explain how to choose a tail pad and how to stick it on your board and make sure it stays there. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe to our YouTube channel down here and get all the latest Akewatu videos as they drop. All right, so a few key ingredients in this process. You're gonna need a surfboard, you're gonna need a tail pad, got one right here, and you're gonna need something to clean your board with. So before you get into any of this, whether you've used your board and waxed it before, or whether it's just brand new, straight out the shop, try not to touch it too much, get a nice clean surface to start with. Okay, now it's really important to choose the right tail pad. It's gonna correspond to the sort of board that you have. What I got right here, I've got a really wide tail on this surfboard. This is a board for small wave summer. It's the baked potato from Firewire, and it's got a really wide tail. It's pretty much the widest tail in surfing. So I'm gonna need something, a wide pad and something I can splay out. So for that, I've chosen the Athlete Series Harley Ingleby pad from FCS. I think this is gonna fit really well on my wide tail. Obviously there's a bunch of different ones out there to use, a slightly different extreme. Your Creatures Mick Fanning, that's for more of a standard shortboard design. Think of the kind of boards that Mick surfs. I've gone for something much wider. It's important that you choose something that's gonna fit your board. So just a last little clean, make sure any little smudges that I put on myself or any last little lingering traces of wax, the board's been waxed up, they're all good to go. Get them off, and then we're gonna just put our pad and just give it a little dry run, still with the backing on, so the adhesive obviously isn't sticking to my board. Still got the backing on, but I'm just kind of laying it out and seeing roughly where I want it to go and sort of getting a feel for how it's going to look. As I said, I got a super wide tail on this board, so I'm splaying this out quite a bit. Now, something to be aware of is how far back or far forward to put your tail pad. And a lot of people make a fairly common mistake. Generally speaking, you want to get that pretty much as far back as you can. The reason for that is you want to have your back foot pretty much over your back fin as much as possible. So as close to the leash plug as you can get. You see some of the pros, they even almost kind of covering their leash plug. So maybe as close to your leash plug as you can go in terms of your placement. Okay, now in terms of figuring out exactly where you want it to go, start with the centerpiece. Some of them have an arch on here. This particular one doesn't. And you line that up with the string of your board. Easy. However, guess what? My baked potato doesn't have a stringer, or not one that I can see. So just to help you to kind of err on the side of caution, you can take a pencil. I stole this one from my kid's pencil case, and a ruler, and just measure out, find the center of the board, draw yourself a little line in pencil, and you're going to use that as your guide. Even if you do have a stringer, you can also, when you're just happy with where exactly you want to be placed, you can also just make some pencil lines just to give yourself a guide. Really good idea if it's the first time you're doing it. If you're more confident, you can just eye it. But useful to have a pencil, just give you a little bit of a guide. Okay, so I've marked with my pencil where I want to go. I've given myself a little guide because I don't have a stringer on this board. I'm going to go ahead and stick on the centerpiece. Always start with the middle, and it's much easier to work things out from there. The glue on the back, the adhesive, is super sticky. It's going to try and stick to your fingers, so just be careful that you don't attach yourself to it. You'll kind of want to hold it. This got a little bit of a kick on the back. I'm just going to hold it by the kick and just peel off the backing. And I'm just going to line that up. Now, as you're doing this, if you get right above your board and look down, avoid touching this. As soon as it touches your board, it's going to stick. You're going to have to pull it off again. Bit of a nightmare. So just kind of get above and keep it a few centimeters off as a little margin of safety, and just line that up. And when you think you're pretty sweet and you're happy with where you are, then it's going to be time to go ahead. Sticker on. There we go. Now just for the time being, I'm just going to lightly touch that down. Afterwards, we're going to go through and really press that down, particularly in this area here. I'm going to really push on that kick because that's where they can come undone. But for the moment, just touch it down lightly and continue again. You've marked out with your pencil where you want to go. Give myself a little bit of splayed out space for my wide tail, and on we go. And then when you're there, then you want to really start applying some pressure. Now, as I said, you basically want a super strong adhesive, but you want to make sure it's stuck down to begin with. If you get a good bond early on, then you're sweet. The problem areas, almost always, if these do come unstuck, this one doesn't have a particularly high kick, but on some tail pads where they've got a big kick, this little ridge, the flat part of the pad joins the kick, can start to come undone. So I'm just really going to get in there and white knuckle that and just get that down really, really hard. You can stand on it if you really want to, but just apply some pressure all over and make sure she's really well stuck down. All right, we're all stuck down. I'm pretty happy with the way that's gone. It's pretty splayed out. I've got a really wide tail. It's just really important to get the right pad for the type of your board. What am I not gonna do now is go surfing. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow till that thing's stuck down. So this was 3 pieces on a really wide tail. So just to show you another example, this is a board with a really narrow tail. This is a step up semi-gun board from a pro surfer. 1-piece tail pad, also from FCS, but just the 1 piece. And obviously it just needs to correspond with how wide or narrow your tail is. So super narrow tail, total opposite extreme to what I just showed you, and the 1-piece tail pad suits for that. So do shop around and make sure you get the right shape of pad to fit the shape of your board. All right, well, hope you've enjoyed our video on how to apply your tail pad. A few simple steps to take your time with it, and it will stick down and will last you a long time. Happy surfing for many, many sessions to come. Don't forget, of course, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get all the Akewatu videos as they drop. We'll see you next time.